So today is March 19th and we're standing on the beach in Dubai. Behind me is Bulgaria Island. Everything is as normal, just a bit gray today. We're gonna talk about what happened. We all know what happened February 28th, right? Israel and USA together combined made an attack, an artillery, a military strike towards Iran. And as a result of that, what did Iran do? Of course, they fired back towards Israel and every single military asset that belonged to America across the entire region. So they start shooting away on Saudi, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, like Abu Dhabi, Dubai. But the key thing is that we intercepted 93 of the ballistic missiles and 94% of every single drone. No harm's been made, nothing. Not a single person, I repeat, not a single person got affected in such a way that they died from any direct impact, all right? So everyone panicked a little bit. The DFM, which is the Dubai Financial Markets Real Estate Index, dipped just in the first 3 days, 9%. And it dipped further on close to 30% in the coming week. But here's what's catchy about that. That did not do any changes to us when it comes to the transactions on the ground. Because remember, the index is heavily based on investor sentiment, purchasing power, and what actually happens on the ground, all right? There's plenty of buyers, a lot of buyers on the market looking for those great deals and distressed deals, but the fundamentals are so strong in our country based on all the initiatives that we have. Remember, we have the D33 agenda, the S33 agenda, the I33 agenda. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum's 2040 vision is still intact. We've built such a strong foundation with the correct fundamentals to remain strong. This is just a breeze for us. We're gonna talk about that now. So firstly, let's talk about point number one. This is not UAE's war, okay? We just accidentally ended up being in the crossfire. This is actually a war between Iran, Israel, and United States of America. But also, like I said, United States of America has a lot of assets in the region, and we just simply got caught up in the crossfire. That's very, very important to mention, right? This is not your Kuwait 1990 war. This is not your Lebanon war, ongoing war, right? This is the safest place in the world, and we've actually proven that by shooting down all the ballistic missiles, shooting down all the drones. We shoot, and no one's actually been killed. No one's been killed, right? Not a single person. It's very important to remember, in 2 weeks, with over 1,500 drones and missiles being shot at us, not a single person died of a direct impact. So safety is still number one. And like I said about the foundational aspects that we've already had in place, makes it extra safe. UAE has proven to the world that we actually are the safest place in the world, right? For the last 2 weeks, we've actually proven that. Because safety is actually from external threats, not how stable the country is internally, but external threats, and we've handled that magnificently. So let's get to my point number two. Actually, before I get into my point number two, that same DFM index, our real estate index that I was talking about, dropped, like I said, 30%, right? I just double checked now. For the last 1 day, it's increased by 5% again, gone up again by 5%. Why? Because there was no panic. We've investor sentiment, and investors and people in the stock market realize that there are no distressed transactions taking place. A lot of people are holding on. There's majority of the articles in the National and Gulf News and Arabian Business have shown that the sentiment from the sellers are still the fact that they think this is safe. So they've hold on to their property. So it's gone up by 5%. So when people are spreading online that we dropped by 30%, they're not actually talking about transactions. They're talking about investor sentiment from a digital standpoint, not the hard asset, but the soft asset, investing into the index, all right? Now, let's get into point number two that I was talking about, okay? Now, let's look at where Dubai was from before the strikes. Okay? Prices went up 60% since 2022. Population was over 4 million. $250 billion in transactions in 2025. Fitch and UBS stated that we are going to collapse, which we haven't, right? But here's the critical nuance. Those supply warnings from Fitch, from UBS and JP Morgan, well, they're concentrated in the mid-market apartment corridors, not the supply-constrained prime segments. There are 131,000 units in the pipeline, 81% apartments, all right? And the structural firewall, well, 60% of January 2026 transactions were all cash. That means it's far leverage-driven market rather than, mortgage-driven or any type of credit line for these types of transactions, which just shows what? Liquidity, capital. People have money, and people with money and high leverage usually stay stable regardless the situation. Man, it's a beautiful day, all right? So now let's get back to the comparable that I always refer Dubai to, which is New York. Both of them very global, financially strong markets, very much so. Both of them depending on heavy infrastructure and have a lot of ground and foundational work underneath the layers, all right? Now, we all know what happened. 9/11 shook the entire city, all right? Zero transactions in downtown. And people were saying that, a collapse is around the corner. So what was the results? All right, in 2002, condo prices that they call it, we call them apartments, they rose by 13%. In 2003, the following year, another 7%. And the coming 5 years was one of the most explosive property cycles New York has ever seen. But see, here's the key that actually favors more in Dubai than it does in New York. See, 9/11 was actually an attack on America, all right? It wasn't that America or New York got caught up in some crossfire between a war between, let's say, Mexico and Canada. They were actually targeted directly. We aren't, okay? So what we predict here and what I predict, since we're a defensive country, we're not trying to be competitive. This is going to be a nice little bump on the road. It's going to freeze up a little bit. It's going to cool down a little bit, followed by explosive, followed by explosive growth. As we all know, our fundamentals are way stronger than New York's fundamentals were at that time. They didn't have the same governmental initiatives of growth. They didn't have the same ambitions, and they didn't have a master plan laid out for the coming 15 years as we do. Boss, yeah, give me one of these in the cone, yeah? Vanilla and chocolate, all right? Now, see, here's the difference as well, right? This is what people have with a traditional one-dimensional mindset outside, which I understand, think of Dubai. They think Dubai is one market, which is not. It's a bunch of pockets, a bunch of micro markets, different areas and different segments and tiers of properties are completely unaligned here. It depends on 4 different tiers, and let's go through these tiers now. So we have tier number 1, right? Which is prime. These are prime units, right? Villas, branded residences, top tier developers. Short-term drop, maybe 1 to 5%. Long-term upside is gonna be 5 to 25%. They're undersupplied, they're cash-driven, and 990 sales above 10 million dirhams was in January alone. Thank you, brother, thank you. Nice. Now let's talk about tier number 2. Tier number 2, oh here we go. So tier number 2, let me get it, you got it? Tier number 2 is basically quality apartments, right? Quality apartments, they're established, metro-connected communities. Again, a part of the plan. We're supposed to become, every person in Dubai in the next 15 years, according to Sheikh Mohammed's plan, is we're only going to have 800 meters, which is about 500 yards to a public train station. So these type of properties go into tier number 2, which is quality apartments, right? 6 to 8% rental yields. That's quite basic here in Dubai. And, we've got professional tenants, blue collars, financial workers, so to speak, blue collars, white collars. I did some notes. I can segment this video for you guys. Then we have, of course, tiers number 3. This is mid-market, right? This is where the pipeline will sit on risk, because in certain areas in Dubai, the pockets that I talked about, we are going to face a little bit of oversupply. A lot of studios and one beds, okay? These are going to be in the risk zone a little bit more. So the first 2 tiers, absolutely not. The upside are huge and the downside are very, very minimal. Now, what do we have here? I've done some maths. I've done some calculations. I'm not going to tell you how I did it, but I've done some calculations. When it comes to tier 3, 10 to 22% short-term decline is a possibility. And then, of course, we have tier 4, which is the speculative. It's always been speculative, right? And that's off plan. I mean, 68% of our market last year was off plan, right? Which is basically you buy something on a payment plan, wait for handover, and everyone comes in with a flipping mentality. Doesn't really work out like that. Obviously, seasoned investors already know that. So if we talk about tier 4, which is speculative, off plan from smaller developers, these are short-term rental units, right? 25 to 50% downside is a risk. Again, I'm not going to go through that. We'll save that for another video, how I do these maths. Everything is data-driven when it comes to me. Been here for 13 years, right? So tourism losses are estimated at $34 to $56 billion. So as usual, right? I just explained about the 4 different tiers. Tier 1 and Tier 2, capital strong people have a lot of equity. They understand this, right? They hold on. Nothing really happens to those segments of apartments, townhouses, and villas and branded residences because they're not going to distress sell. Tier number 3 and 4, by the way, I mean, on the other hand, right? These are people that are a little bit more towards the speculative side. When bearish times come, you know, want to liquidate as soon as possible because fear kicks in, right? So that's the instability that we would potentially face after this war situation. Happens every time. That's always the cycle in those 4 different tiers in every market, to be honest with you. All right, so again, like after this happened, I did a lot of research. I started looking at comparable cities to us, how they got affected, what were the numbers, right? And I learned a lot in the last week. We can go through them now, written everything down. So 73% of all the post-war periods, they rebound within 1 year, right? Average dip at a conflict onset was 12%. Now, if we look at post-World War I, real estate was up 40%. I mean, that's a long time ago, but I just wanted to have that in here. Post-World War II, again, a long time ago, up 150%. Now, here comes the interesting part that is more towards, you know, now times, right? A bit more towards the later history, right? Post-Gulf War, right? We were up, post-Gulf War, up 25%. And during Iraq War, up 45%. Now, here comes the catch. Ukraine wasn't too long ago, 6-7 years ago, post-COVID, Russians and Ukrainians moved their money and we benefited as usual, unfortunately, right? During COVID, Dubai was up 47%. It's very important to remember that we are the safe haven for anything that happens as well, right? We're just not another Madrid or London. We are a safe haven for that, okay? Now, these are the patterns sophisticated investors have basically internalized. Very, very important to remember. We have to look at comparables. So obviously, this creates opportunities, right? Every war does that. And I call it the access window. Now, what is that access window? Let's just put it like this. For the last 3 to 4 years, from the big developers such as Ema, Nakhil, Miraz, Aldar in Abu Dhabi, it's been very hard to even get units because things been selling out on VIP launches, even pre-launches before they hit the market. You just wanting to buy something and having the capital to do so has just not been enough. Now we also have, obviously, we've got a lot of branded residents. We're about to become the #1 branded residence destination in the world. A lot of those come into the market as well. So since this war's happened and things are a little bit more cool, and they will be cool for a little bit of a time, people gonna people have the mentality of let's wait and see. There's an opportunity because we will bounce back for sure, 150% based on everything that we discussed. But there's an opportunity, there's a window, the access window where you can easier to negotiate. You can strategically actually select allocations in launches. You can look over, certain developers will probably, and some of them are actually offering DLD waivers. It's kind of windy now, Vincent, as well, right? A little bit windy, nice. I can't believe it's March. It's supposed to be super hot, but it's not. You have DLD waivers. There's room for negotiation. You can be, like I said, more strategic to selecting which units, etc. And it's going to be more accessible for you to actually get prime, tier 1 and tier 2 that I talked about. Tier 3 and tier 4 has always been there, especially tier 3 has always been there. Tier 4 is the off-plan. That was the speculative market. But the top tiers that was really, really hard to get are much, much easier to get now as well. So what is the bottom line with all of this? Let's close this out. 93 and 94% of the ballistic missiles and the drones intercepted. People refusing to leave. I don't know if you've seen the articles. People are actually not going back to Australia and the UK. Airplanes are empty because people still feel safe here. 60% of all of our transactions are cash, meaning that this reduces stress selling heavily. We won't face the dip that many people think and project, all right? Now, Manhattan, again, coming back to Manhattan, saw an incredible growth after 9/11, and in the coming 5 years, the most explosive growth New York City has ever seen in their property market. We can see that, the index, the real estate index for Dubai in the last day has gone up by 5% from dipping 30 because they thought there was going to be distressed deals, which it wasn't, all speculative. It's not, like nothing's going to happen. So the whole point is now there's an opportunity for you to actually be able to get hold of apartments, villas, townhouses, branded residents, that you couldn't before because there was too much demand. Now the people's mindset has shifted a little bit to let's wait and see. Of course, what's going on with the war to begin with, but let's wait and see. But what I'm trying to say is every single investment fundamental of this property market is there above and beyond. The word safety has a new meaning in Dubai based on what I said about the interception of all the missiles. So you have an opportunity to actually see something really, really good instead of just picking up something in the off-plan resale market that a lot of people have been doing, all right? Everything that I've said in this video are data taken from, DOD, from Fitch Report, UBS, Ministry of Defense, etc. So everything, you can check it out. Everything's, basically authentic, solidified, etc. Get in touch with me. There's a QR code here. You can get in touch with me. Any type of help you might need, right? Doesn't need to always be in regards to sales. And we'll talk about it. So until then, peace in the Middle East.